Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. I've sort of got the place, the fan going, and all kinds of other stuff because we're having a sort of an unusually hot day. It was supposed to be up to 98, and it's only 90. So, anyway, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Someone? Oh, good. Hi, Donald. Is the sound okay, Donald? And the video? Thanks, Kim. Great. Hey, Forbin. Hi, Untimely Meditations. How are you? Thank you. Um, Okie doke. Uh, what I what I thought I'd talk about this morning, we were talking about the. Hi, Mr. Gumby. We were talking about the Washington. How are you? Um, we were talking about the impact of the, I guess, the recession or whatever is coming. We really don't know. And hi, hater. And so anyway, so I thought, well, we'd talk about something related to that. And then what I was doing, I was sort of looking around for some of the older charges. In other words, I wanted to find some MSRPs from like around 2015 on up to the pandemic. And when I was doing that, I realized that a really good way to sort of start looking for things is to look at the going back to my back to the same well but in a different place. Hello, Canadian monkey. How you doing? um and what I did, I went to ACHI, which is the independent Swiss, well, it's not Swiss, it's everything. The Independent Watchmakers Group, and there are people from all over the world there. I think the bulk of them are Swiss still, but there are a lot of people there. And so what I did this time, usually I just sort of look at one of the guys, and like I had done with Vincent Calabrese, and found a couple of his that I thought were good deals. And so what I did is that I went to two other places. First of all, the waiting list. There are only two people on the waiting list right now. But then I went beyond that to the former people who used to be in AHCI and no longer are. Now, I'm not sure why. Some I know why, but others I don't. Like George Daniels used to be in that group, but he no longer is. Um, and so I thought, well, I'll take a look and I'll see what I can find. And boy, I tell you, there's some really interesting people. I forgot their names now. Um, but it's sort of a source that you can go to, and if you go to even the ones who used to be in AHCI, and they'll have a little URL. Excuse me, they'll have a little URL for their wherever they have watches now. Now there are a number of unusual kinds of watches and clocks and whatnot that they had. A lot of the former members had, but one guy that I spent some time. Now I'm going to have to find out. I forgot his name. Um, he was um, a German guy, and he had this place. Here we are. And by the way, too, here's what you do if you're not familiar with AHCI. All you have to do is you go to ahci.ch for Switzerland, and then click on the members list. And at the very top left, you'll see Sven Anderson. He's a guy that you can find some older ones too that he did early on in his watchmaking career. But the guy that I found that I didn't know about was a guy named Rainier Nienberg. And what he seems to have done with a lot of the watches, they're all of them I think have either shield or ETA movements. Now he doesn't seem to be he he may be a movement modifier because some of the things that he has done are really very interesting, and the prices aren't bad. Now you can't find many of them on the used market, and I think I found one, and it was a moldable calendar one, and it wasn't that expensive. And so anyway, so this is one of the things that we could use to find some sort of discover some really cool watch that we'd like to have that people aren't looking at. And so I thought, well, I've gone through the AHCI, gone through their waiting list, and it was only two people. But then going through the old ones, I found there were a lot of people there who were interesting. Renee is one of them. Thomas Pressure, who really had a very recent watch come out. It's just dynamite. Unfortunately, these are $100,000, $200,000 watches. Um, Let me see who else they had there. Peter Speak. He's also a former member, and of course you can find some of his watches from when he had a company named after them. Then since then it's sold, and there's no connection. I talked to somebody about that, and they said there is absolutely no connection. So that means there's no connection with him now. Um, Let me see some other people. Well, Christian Vanderclaw, he's from my generation. Either one of the two of us is a couple months older or younger than the other one. We'll find out eventually. But anyway, what I would suggest that you do is you go through that list, and and then you go to their sites and see what they have. Another guy who has a really interesting combination is ah, hang on, I got the list right here. Let me look it up. Is how do you say it? Where Prusio. Antoine Prusio. I said it wrong. If you go to his site, he's got some affordable watches. I mean, he's got some ones that are way up there, some tourbillons. I think there's one watch he has called the tourbillons of tourbillons. No idea what that is, but he has a really, really cool world timer. And one of these days, I'm going to get it. It's really cool. It looks from the South Pole and has a little world that goes around. So it sort of looks like a very cool watch. And it's on a 24-hour kind of thing that very inventive uh, kind of thing. So anyway, let me see if there's someone else here that I've looked at. Now, the AHCI itself has got this, full of good guys. I'll tell you another guy who's got some watches that are fairly affordable is Paul Gerber. Paul Gerber has this thing that's has a triple, three independent rotors on the back, these gold rotors, and it's on the movement is a fairly simple uh, ETA or something like that, but very cool watches. Okie doke. Let's see. So what's going on here? Um, Thomas, hey, Mark, Jay, Tim, Richard. Good afternoon to you too. Koji, hi Koji, got his coffee going. Duke Togo. All right. Let's see who else we have here. Hi Junior, and let's see Forbin. The seat. Oh, okay, Forbin. I know you're going to give me a hard time. You just wait until I'm going to tell the rancher on you, and he'll give you a hard time. Hi Neff. Oh, there he is. Come on, go get him, rancher. Oh, okay. I thought Gerber was for infants. Jesus. See what I mean? Okay. Hey, Rich. Okay, guys. So, can you? What are some other ones? This is, something I just have just started sort of digging through the former members of AHCI, and there are a lot of them. I mean, I know that Kristen Vanderklaut retired. Someone told me that Kristen Klings is also retired. So there are a number of guys that are retired. A guy who's not on there, but is retired, I think, maybe not 100%, is Jean-Marc Viderek. So, but I mean, there are a lot of these people around who are like really good watchmakers. They're not part of a group, and at least I don't think any of them are using silicon. I hope they never do either. So, what, Neff? What? I got the big Samoan attorney. Is that it? That's. Oh, hi, Andrew. How you doing? Okay, Michael Jordy, Andrew. I don't know his Michel Jordy. I don't know his stuff. By the way, too, I got there are a number of people say, "Hey, have you heard of that?" or "Have you heard of this?" And that really helps because I go find out who they are, and usually can find something interesting about them. I think the big problem now that we have, and again, um, is the whole issue of high prices and low supplies, and so that makes the prices even higher. But there are places, like I said, the trick of the game always is to look somewhere else before somebody sees them. Um, okay, let's see. I'm big, but not Samoan big. I don't know. You might be. Okay. Keaton Myrick does some interesting pieces. American maker. That name rings a bell. Is he from Oregon, Koji? There's one guy who's up in Oregon, out in I think Eastern Oregon. Yeah. Oh yes, Thomas. Tell us about that. Owen also told me about uh, the Festival of Time that you guys are having. Oh wow, boy, Vianney Halder, Andreas Steller, Bernard Lediger. Bernard Lediger is a guy that his stuff is just amazing. Paul Gerber, Paul, I just mentioned him. John and Stephen McGonigal. I hope they were there with those other people. Really, what a group. Oregon, Koji. Yeah, I seen that guy's stuff. I think he may actually have his own movement. I'm not positive, but I think so. Now, Rancher, that's heresy. That's not only heresy, that's sacrilegious. McGee, yeah, his stuff is really amazing, Duke. His stuff is just, yeah. All of these guys, these are, and there's certain watch collectors who spend a lifetime collecting, well, called herd following watches, and never hear of these guys. And that's just to me, that's too bad. It's not too bad for us because that's less people to go after their watches. Uh, that's a good question, Andrew. Where would I go to find out about horology meetings like that? Usually, you catch them on. They're in a discussion group. I got an email from who was it? Anyway, I got an email the other day, and it was reminding me, saying he hadn't seen the announcement for the 2022 uh, watch time show in New York City. And I said, it's not, not going to be for a while if they have it. Well, I found out that they will next month, June. You can sign up for the New York watch time show that'll be in October. So that's one. Now that you know about it, I'm going to sign up early, and because I like to go to the cocktail party, sort of mooch free food. Um, Martin Braun. I think he may have been one of the guys I was looking at the other day. There were a couple German watchmakers that some people said, hey, what about this guy? And I always go look him up and find out about him. If he's the guy I think he is, he's got his watches are a little too small. I think they're the 36 millimeter, and he probably has, if I'm not mistaken, if this is who I'm thinking it is, he either has his own version of a Pazoo ETA 7001 or somehow got his mitts on one of the alphas from Nomos. It's hand wound now, 3 hertz. Michael Jordy was a famous in the 90s for his fifth folklore watches with cows and Edelweiss motifs in the low tier price range. Later, he launched some very expensive watches without big success. Thank you, Rodent. That was, I didn't know that. Owen, you missed it? Owen, you were the one who told me about it. This is the Irish group that they had. Hello, Hamburg. What do you know of Patrick Slojan, Peter Nicholas, Albert Edelman, and upcoming watchmakers like Christian Last? Doesn't Christian Last have a big service component to his work, if I'm not mistaken? Ah, okay. Lease time, I that would be important. That'd be very important. Okay, so all of those guys, all of the ones you mentioned, I think are worth following up on. The ones that I think are the most interesting to collectors, at least, you have when you have guys like Antoine Prusio, when he's got watches way up here, and then he has them down sort of between really about low mid tier in terms of price, something that good to know about. Just got a Mont Blanc with the alligator strap. Buyer beware. Fish and Wildlife inspected in Honolulu and delayed it for almost a week delivery. I've heard horror stories of straps being cut off. Andrew Owens. Let me tell you something about that. There are a lot of guys I know who wish they did cut them off. Okay, if it was, um, they the fewer people are now shipping with gator straps for that very reason. If I have, and sort of we can talk Turkey and not through an intermediary. If there are gator straps, good gator straps on a watch, and I buy it from somebody, I'll just tell them, say, look, just ship the bands separately, and if there's something wrong with them and they get stuck at customs, at least I get the watch and be sure to include the buckle with it too. But man, I tell you, it just they really made it a nightmare. On the other hand, uh, getting watches from Jean Rousseau or ABP Concepts in Paris, they ship them all the time. But I think that they have their site's paperwork done exactly right, and so there's never a problem. Or if there is, it doesn't last very long. I my the last, in fact, I think it was for these for this particular one, my blue gator straps that I got they were sent from Paris. There was a slight delay at customs, but it wasn't very much. Just sort of like, it was, and when you see the FedEx thing and it says inquiry, that's when you start sweating bullets. Oh yeah, you get a good watch. I tell you though, if you buy a watch overseas, doesn't matter what country you're in, tell them to if there's gators, there's anything other than cowhide, have or of course metals are fine, and so are fabrics. But that's one thing you want to. Oh, Mad Red One, boy, those are cool. Really like that. Um, Martin Baum had a watch called the EOS Boreas. Yes, that's the one that Braun was once with the Frank Mueller group. He was the one Washington football fan. That was the one. Hey, Time Texas just picked up a Kadoki 2 Bluebird. Stunning. Ooh, that sounds interesting. That's the Kadoki 2. That was the one that won a Grand Prix for the Petit Aiguille, I think. But a Bluebird sounds neat. I saw another one. I think it was that sort of a butterscotch one. Very nice. Hi, Smoko. Jean Rousseau custom gator on both sides. Very nice straps to fit a watch. That's what these are. I love them. These are, and I had some. What did I? I had to have some. Wait a minute. Now this. Yes, I think was this the one. I had some bespoke bands made by them. The ones, oh no, yeah, uh, I got some orange ones from them for my H Moser. Worked out great. But you have standard sizes, then you have bespoke sizes, and the bespoke sizes they will cost you about $100 more and take longer to make. And I was so nervous about it. I had an extra pair of bands for my chronomet surveying. And so I sent them the bands and said, look, I want them exactly like this, but be sure to send the bands back. And they did. Worked out. They're a good bunch to work with. Emmanuel Boucher, Frederick. Wow. Also, Fears has a collaboration with Garrick that's quite nice. Good to know that. Ah, MB&F. I tell you, that is a watch. Their watches. I love those MB&F. Ah, Neff. I'll tell you something that I did with the guy that I was working on a bespoke one. I talked to him via WhatsApp. He preferred WhatsApp, and so that could have been part of it. The people directly in New York, if you contact the people directly in New York, phone anything, nothing. Right. So if I think next time I'm in go visit New York City, I might stop by their office and knock on their door, and because you get a they don't respond to anything. You're right about that. But the guy in Paris who I was working with, as soon as he got my WhatsApp uh, connection, that worked out pretty well. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. They're not cheap, and they ought to have better service. So there. Hey, Coach, have you tried Deluxe? Ah, that's another one. There's one that Rancher used a lot. They really like called Combat Straps. They're up in Canada, and they also do bespoke uh, bands for you. So now we got uh, Deluxe. That's sort of an interesting name, Deluxe. Got you know what's the size of your Deluxe? Yeah, yeah, they both do. I tell you though, I have three straps from the ABP Paris, and they're all different and all great. And I have two from Jean Rousseau, and I got a watch that I hope to have sometime later this summer that I'm going to get some sort of burgundy straps for. Okay. Well, since somebody asked, are there any other meetings that are coming up anywhere that that you know about where they have get-togethers like the one they just had in Ireland that Owen told me about and didn't miss? I know schedules can make it difficult. Yeah, Aaron's the guy to talk to at Combat Straps. Forbid Roten mutation. Oh God. Oh boy. Um, that's another thing too. Since we're talking about straps, you can buy these relatively. Use the term relatively judiciously. You can get a relatively inexpensive watch by one of these top watchmakers, and then get one of these. Get a really good band to go with it, and you can have a top watch that they're asking 40, 50,000 dollars for without having to spend a fortune, and also have, I think, a lot more interesting watch. Oh man, Ronnie Maldavi recommended Hodden steps. I think they're in Thailand. Yeah, the um I think the big thing about straps, the only thing you have to know is if they have a good system with sites, CITES, then you'll get it if you order it overseas. It doesn't matter. They could be made at the Gator Farm in Florida, and they wouldn't be allowed in anywhere unless they had the correct paperwork with them. An Ancochi. Least time, what is an Ancochi? Yeah, there are a lot of good ones. I mean, there are a lot of them, um, but they seem to come and go. Yeah, yeah, I tell you, right. Um, yeah, that's another thing too, or the whole politics of everything is getting a little crazier by the day. Um, the there's some really bad stuff going on in the world, and I'm glad that Switzerland has been neutral for so long. Deluxe, okay. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Roden, for that one. Okay, Koji, I see the frying pans before I get mine. Um, thanks, Junior. Laco and Stoa. Yeah, 1940. Okie doke, everyone. Listen, everyone, I guess still be safe. We found out there's a new whoop in the COVID, and now we're having a heat wave. That's supposed to kill it, but not, not doing a very good job. So, anyway, everyone still be real safe. Take care.